and this is my YouTube channel. It used to be actually, it still is actually Conversations and Perspectives, but I'm starting a new series, and this series is about the takes of really smart, interesting people on Twitter. So I've had Rebecca on many times, 3 times, 2 times. I actually don't know. I think it's about
three.
two. Oh, it's 3 times. Okay, wow. So
I
I've
think
had
it's
Rebecca on three
three.
times before, and which is totally cool. I mean, this person is awesome, and I wish I knew her in person because I mean, she's just great. And so I've had her on before, and I think that this new series, the person that I wanted to talk to first is Rebecca Christiansen, who I call RBC. And this new series is called Your Take. And the idea is to bring on people who are interesting and smart and get their takes on things. And so that's what's happening here. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty good introduction. So what I'd like to do is just jump right in and ask the question. Who is Rebecca Christensen?
Rebecca Christiansen is an author, a novelist, essayist, and op-ed writer, and just someone who spends talking about culture topics, politics, and me. And as far as what I do, I'm currently working on a revision of a novel that is taking 1 billion years to complete. And I'm actually about to start work on a new fictional fiction project for a new app that I'm going to be announcing probably next week.
Wait, a new app that you are announcing? What?
Yeah,
Wait.
there's not my app, but I'm going to be writing a fictional series on it. Stay tuned for that news.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool. So we have spoken before, and I think we established that we have spoken 3 times in the past. Why am I so interested in you, Rebecca Christian? I don't know. That's a lot. It's the 4th time. But I think what it is that I just really like you. I mean, I think you're a really interesting person, and not only that in terms of character and personality, it's really good. It's very attractive. I'm saying that your personality is attractive, and it's really cool. And so I'm glad that you are willing to chat with me. So all right, so you're a writer. You're writing. Say a little bit about Wattpad, because that's your main platform.
Wattpad is basically a self-publishing platform that is also a social media. You can publish stories on there, and the community is very, very intense. You post chapters of story, and people will comment, and it's like a super, super positive community, and I really love writing on there. I believe like 3 years now. I have 4 published stories on there, and continuing like to kind of grow my platform on there and my relationship with the company. And Wattpad is starting this new writing on, so that's kind of another evolution of my platform from there.
Okay, cool. I mean, I wanted to point that out because you've got. I mean, I've been trying to follow what you're doing on Twitter, and you post. I have X number of views on Wattpad. I mean, it's like a big thing. So I wanted to make sure that people know that in the future when I kind of post this on YouTube, and hopefully people will watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you that's the way to get to your writing is through Wattpad. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Until I get another.
I'm sorry. Say again. Get another what?
Oh, until I get another, hopefully.
Okay. Well, of course you will. All right. Okay. So let me see. So let me set this up for the viewers. So I know Rebecca and from many different there are many different dimensions how I know Rebecca. She's really cool. And what I've decided to do is ask her to give me her takes on issues. And we talked about these earlier. Like I asked her what she wanted to about, and then I sent her, um, some kind of outline. So we have a general outline, and we'll follow that. But of course, it's open ended. So I'll try and dive in deeper. And so Rebecca was interested in talking about Andrew Tate, and then also radical feminism. And so what I'll do is I'll just ask her those, and then I'll try as much as I can to try and get my 2 cents in, and try and have a back and forth. So, Rebecca, what is your take on the red pilled community, including, of course, Andrew Tate?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. The main honcho in that group. I was always sort of, I became more fully aware of it in the past probably 6 to 8, the live streamer Destiny. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a center left debater. He's famous for debates, but he started a couple of figures from the red pill community, Sneeko, and the podcast. And I was pretty quickly what I was hearing. Sneeko was a very young, he's like a 24-year-old for like 10 years, but he's gotten more into the red pill stuff in the past couple of years, full in. And they try, like, both Sneeko and the Fresh and Fit podcast, which is like in Miami. They give like kind of dating advice, and they have a lot of women on their show.
Okay, hold on. You're
in it. What women are like.
Hold on. You're in and out a bit, so it's probably frustrating to the viewers or future viewers. But just to make sure, so you said Sneaker and Fresh and Fit. Could you say a little bit about how they're connected? Again?
Yeah, they are connected. They've been on each other's shows. They're kind of part of like a loose net pill YouTubers.
Okay.
And what they do primarily is give kind of like dating advice, and like pickup stuff. And so the Fresh and Fit podcast, what they do, at a time they bring on like 8 to 10 women, and they do like these huge kind of talk about different dating topics and hookup topics. And they're based in Miami, and they're very much kind of like nightclub guys. So all of these women are kind of like, all of the cast are kind of Miami club girls. Like, they're a very specific type of woman. Like, a lot of them have degrees or run businesses, but they're all like very, very much. And so they bring them on and they ask them questions, and because the questions that they ask and the way that they ask them and the way they respond, trying to show their audience that like this is what women are like. They don't individuals, like they'll talk to a girl, they'll ask her opinion, and then there's a back and forth between the men on the show, and it's just like a very, very strange interaction that happens on there. And the girls have like the message of the show is very much that like all women are like this, and like this is what you're dealing with out there. And it's such a strange view. They all kind of think that women are these like calculating creatures who evaluate men and all.
That's right. Yeah,
like,
yeah. The sexual marketplace. They're always trying to move up in the hierarchy. Was it Monkey? I forgot the word that they use, but yes, I understand. Yeah, yeah.
Even this, like, it's so strange because clearly what they're trying to do is validate themselves through these women. Like, they will say want this. Women want like a rich guy who owns real estate, who has a nice car. They'll use evidence of women liking that as like self-approval. It's a very, like, the things that they're about are the things that they say women care about. And they kind of have these women on who reinforce that because they're part of the same world, to give advice to like the viewers who are probably not in that world, dating advice for how to hook up with like materialistic Miami girls. 0.001%
All right. Okay.
of all
Okay.
women.
All right. Hold on. So I'm gonna ask you a question. The audio is not good, so I don't know what's gonna happen when this is over, but it doesn't matter. I want to ask you this question. So, all right. Me as a guy, who have, with varying degrees of success, try to date females. The question would be, no, not the question. The observation would be that it seems as if sometimes it is true that there are women who are, actually, no, I don't even want to say sometimes, that, of 100 women, 70 or 80 are indeed interested in the guy who will, have, a certain material success and, present themselves with a certain confidence, maybe physically. What is it? The sixes, 6 foot tall, six abs, 6 foot engine, or whatever it is that they do. But anyway, the idea is that there's some kind of some kind of archetypal image of masculinity, and women like it. And so when those red pill guys point that out, to me, I see that as, speaking the truth. What do you think?
I think stuff like that can get men in the door, and especially can get a lot of doors. But not every be 100% all in on those factors, and most are going to, even if all of these factors are fulfilled, there's going to be others that if they're not fulfilled, those guys are going to be successful. So say like a guy walks into a space like this and he's well dressed, handsome, has like watch, I don't know, like some kind of indicator that he's doing well. Like doesn't look like a slob. He's probably gonna get at least the attention of most of the women in that room. But if he's an asshole, if he treats people around him poorly, like some bartenders, if you treat those people poorly, that's going to be a huge turnoff to a lot. And then if you can't hold a conversation, or if you can't focus, that's also going to let you down. So the material stuff might get you in the door with a lot of women, maybe even like 90% of women. Interpersonal factors are still going to be more important. And the fresh and fit don't seem to get that. They think that like that guy could walk in a club, any girl, and be like, come home with me, and she'll say yes. And that's not how it works. I think there's an X factor that has to be, and they seem to think that like women will take all of the material of personal connection and commitment, and I don't think that's true at all. Like Andrew Tate said, like, oh, if I'm rich and like Ballin, and I have like all these other women. Any woman will want me with other women, and I don't think that's true at all. I don't
Okay.
95% of women would go for that, even more.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is a nice kind of segue because we want to talk about Andrew Tate a little bit. So I know only generally, he's like a kickboxer or something and became like a big internet influencer. So, who is Andrew Tate? Why are we talking about him?
Yeah, it's really strange. He kind of came out of nowhere. It's interesting. One of the ways that he's found success is by his existing fan base as like an advertising tool. So he runs like courses and stuff on like how to make money. And one of the things that he does is he clips of his content and share them. So he gets his fans to kind of like propel his viewership and make money. There's an army of like small YouTubers and TikTokers who create content, and that's part of what got him to that level of fame. It's really interesting. Yeah, he's British American. He is from the US to the UK as a young child, and he's a kickboxer, and he now lives because of like lower basically, because he's been investigated for sex trafficking and all of this stuff.
Oh, really? Like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He lives in like a mansion in Romania. Girls in from all over the world to like live in his house. It's like really creepy. Yeah, and he's.
But wait. He dated Michaela Peterson or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Are they still? Yeah. Okay, past tense did. Okay, no. All right, cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's a weird crossover. But
okay, yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead. You had something you were gonna say.
He's interesting because he and Sneeko don't do this as much, but Andrew Tate and Sneeko do this thing where they like religious, or they say that they're religious, and they talk about God, how to be a good person and stuff. But it's so at odds and like the life that they're actually living. It's very, very strange. They talk about like tradition and traditional this and traditional that. Meanwhile, they're sleeping and all they care about are cars and money and fancy material. It's like, it's such a strange thing, and they often tie the materialistic stuff in. Like they'll say, "Oh, you should be a good person," and the indicators of being that you have, like a 6-figure salary and you own real estate and you have a Maserati, and like cut it all in together into this weird package.
Okay, so all right, so thanks. I mean, I think a lot of people, some people know of Andrew Tate, and a lot of people are like me who are like, I've seen him. And in fact, I think he was on Piers Morgan like some weeks ago. So I mean, he's kind of entering the mainstream, but still, he's kind of a character who's outside. Okay, so all right, so that's totally cool. Sorry, I burped. So all right, that's totally cool. All right, so just to be clear, what is Rebecca Christiansen's take on the red pilled community? Like, is it something that a guy should go into, or they should say, "Oh no, it sucks"? No. What is the?
No, it's pretty bad.
Okay,
I haven't seen.
We need an evaluation here. Okay, all right, cool.
There are certain spheres of the internet that I don't pull things I'm okay with from, And
Mm-hmm.
the red pill stuff, anything redeeming there. I think, I don't even think, like, they seem to have a lot of unhappy people in them. He seems to be, he seems to be kind of, the spiritual stuff is more like where he actually wants to be, and he's trying to use that. Because, like, I think people who aren't inclined to that don't. So the fact that he has that aspect to him makes me think that that's actually where he wants. It's kind of sad to see, like, a community of people unhappy and wanting something, but are not getting there. I don't think people should bother with it.
Okay. Well, I agree and disagree a little. So, first off, the idea that Tate and other people are angling towards something spiritual or would like to do something spiritual but are not. I mean, I never thought about that, so that's something I have to consider once we're off the air. But I think that there are men who are looking for other men, and until there's another space available, um, that space could be functional. The issue is, and I agree with you, is that the way that they see women. So to me, it would be better if there was a space, you can call it red pill, whatever, that had men in it who weren't like denigrating women and spoke about men's issues in a way that was more pro-social. So, I mean, I guess I agree. Just have a slightly different view of it. But yeah.
You know what? I actually see that happening more left-wing communities.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mentioned his community. They're called DGG. That's like what the. Actually, just this past weekend, he and I think they had 3 community canvassed in Georgia for Warnock, and there are and it's really cool because his is a very male. It's probably 90% male or more. And so at this canvassing event, first of all, it's really, really, really hard to get men to do political on the ground work. That is actually dominated by women. So just the fact that mostly men came out to do something is pretty cool. But you can see it in the videos. Kind of, they're all nerdy. They're all obviously interested in like gaming, and they're all there together, and they like care to do this awesome thing that they. Oh, it's really cute. I love watching videos of it. But so I do think that is a lot of young men who sit at home and watch stuff on the internet and don't, and they're lonely and they need people. So I do think that can happen if there were more healthy communities where that can happen.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's shift gears a bit, or maybe a lot. What is your take on?
Not really.
It's like we're kind of moving, but I try to keep it within 50 minutes to an hour. So, what is your take on radical feminism?
Okay, I've always been a feminist generally, but I never put it. But over the past couple of months, being again Destiny, I watched like way too many of this man's videos.
Okay, so hold on. Before you continue, this is the second time that you kind of mentioned him. So those who don't know, who is Destiny?
So his real name is Stephen Bennell. He was banned off Twitch, so he's now on YouTube. So he's a live streamer. So his room and plays video games and streams it live. But since 2016 stuff. So he debates conservatives, he debates leftists, kind of a center left person, but he has heterodox ideas centered on the left. But he's very interesting because he's one of the few people on the left who is actually a person and enjoys debate and will talk to a wide variety of people. So he's kind of known as like the Ben Shapiro of the left because of that.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Is that good?
Yes, it's kind of gives you an idea. Yeah. And like very smart and very quick and good at what he does.
Cool,
so,
cool. All right.
Yeah. So I have been a fan of his since 2020. And but I noticed over the past little while, because live streaming is such a strange world. There's basically like the streamer who is, and they kind of grow these networks of friends who often are also streamers, and that's kind of how they grow their audience of stream. So Destiny is a really big streamer, so he tries to get some of them, and then they become his friends, and they'll do different debates on different topics. And so if you're aware of probably about 10 other small streamers at any time, and these are called so
called what?
Over the past year or so, Orbiter.
Okay.
So he's like and are orbiting him.
That's right. Okay.
And,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of noticed that his community was becoming misogynistic, developing in a really strange way where misogynistic jokes were becoming acceptable, and he didn't like that because women are such a minority in his community. He wanted to kind of get rid of that, so he started kind of inviting on, and it's the way that female streamers are treated in YouTube world. It's very different from the way that the men are treated. It's kind of an expectation that the women are dolled up, that they wear makeup on stream, shirts on stream,
interesting.
and their appearance is very much a part of their gamers.
Okay. It's like the movies, actually. It's like the television. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, their looks are very much a part of their appeal. And it's so it starts to become an expectation of a female streamer that she's very dolled up, and that it's almost like the male live streamers are all content. Like they can have like overgrown beards, they can wear sweatpants and messy hair. They just put their headphones on.
Oh yeah. I had no interest in how I looked. I just came up here and sat down and started talking. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And so like what is everything? Like maybe their enemies will take pot shots at them, but doesn't damage them at all to look bad.
Right.
And the women, if you are streaming, like if women come onto like a streamed panel where they have other speakers, there's an expectation that they're going to look good. And if they don't do that, I've seen it where if they get into conversations with female streamers on panels, they'll start to make and they'll start to say like, like basically saying like, I wonder if it has anything to do with the argument at hand, or they'll just say like, oh, turn your camera on, and meanwhile men will have their cameras off, and when it gets called out, no, they don't know what they're doing. They'll say like, oh, I just want to know who I'm talking to, or and so but they'll never do it to a male streamer, never. So I started to notice things like that.
Okay. Before you continue, I have to say that I don't know, it's on my end or your end, I don't know, but the it's a lot of in and out, so it's probably not a good stream. But first one, um, this is really interesting. First off, you're correct. I mean, when I see or when I watch because I watch a lot of YouTube, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I watch a lot of YouTube, and yeah, I'm interested in what the woman looks like, and somehow, for whatever reason, I mean, I hate to admit that, but I have to be honest, the whatever the woman looks like, it matters more than what the guy looks like, and somehow, I associate validity with how they look. They don't have to be pretty, but they have to look a certain way. And I think, oh, okay, yeah, 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 which is terrible. And I know that. But subconsciously, I know that's happening. And when you point that out, I agree. I mean, it's really obvious. So there was a second part to this, but I don't know what it is. But oh, that's right, that's right. What the hell's got to do with destiny? How does it work? You know?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I was noticing that aspect with the female
Okay.
orbiters. They're also treated as being less rational, more emotional,
Mhm.
crazy, and behave exactly the same as the male streamers. Like streamers all have drama with each other, and there'll be all these fights and stuff. But only the women are seen as like. So that kind of got me thinking the inequalities and the differences in treatment. I read a book called The Right to Sex by Amia Srinivasan. I don't know if you've a year or two ago, and it was a pretty big deal. But so the titular essay is about Elliot Rodger, how incels feel entitled to sex, and it's a great essay. That's kind of like an aside, but that book got me thinking about how differences in how women are treated are actually like discriminatory. Like it seems like you can say like, oh, the way women are treated is another way, and then they're just different. But it's actually of discrimination to treat someone differently. So I started to do more research that led me to Catherine McKinnon, who is a radical feminist and instrumental in Title IX and sexual. And the solution of that was the idea sexually harassed at work or at school is a, and I never really thought of it before, but yeah, like if you're treated differently at your career, that is discrimination because you were treated differently because of who you are. That kind of like,
yes, by definition, yeah.
That got me thinking a lot. I had previously thought that all radical feminists were TERFs, phobic and trans exclusionary, but that was how I knew of radical feminism. But I found out that is not true. There are radical feminists, and Catherine McKinnon is one. So, like, made me a lot more open to it because of.
Okay. All right. So now I gotta try to be like a good interviewer. So all right. So we went from destiny, which is cool. I mean, first off, you said something very insightful. So after we're off the air, I want to talk to you about that. So you talked about destiny, and then you mentioned TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists, which is I guess a subset of radical feminism. So it might be important that the viewers get a sense of what TERFs are. Like, what the heck is a TERF?
A TERF is a specific type of like not all transphobes are TERFs. Some of them are religious conservative, are just jerks. But TERFs are believe in things like patriarchy theory and women, but they think that this is grounded solely in biology and are not part of that. So they see trans women as who are part of the oppression of cis women. And a radical feminist who is not a TERF believes that so experience misogyny and the same oppression as cis women. So it seemed logical to me. So I never put it together that a radical feminist. So once I kind of learned about this sphere of who speak the ways that women are treated differently, include trans women, that kind of clicked for me, because it's been a long time since I was more on the gender critical side. I'm not anymore. And I did not want to go, like, I have been thoroughly disillusioned with ages. So once I kind of realized that there was this very much focused on women's oppression that included trans people, I was like, I'm into this. I kind of see the live streaming as being akin to like an OnlyFans or like an industry where women are treated as of who they are. So and I don't want like it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that women are for their looks and they're only there to serve the male gaze. Like we can have a different. It's kind of what radical feminism is about.
Okay, wait. Like, okay, hold on. So let me push back a little bit. First off, I mean, in the abstract, yes. I mean, if you're on Twitter and you're live streaming or YouTube, excuse me, and you're live streaming, then it should be about your content and not what you look like. But I mean, come on, be honest. I mean, I mean, even men. I mean, look, if I could, look as good as I could on camera, I think it would help me. I mean, so it's not necessarily that. I mean, yes, it more impacts women, but it's a sort of universal thing among the population that if you look more attractive, then it will help you get more followers and more views. I mean, so is it entirely about women?
And looks can contribute to the product. There are lots of communities that are kind of based on aesthetics, like goth communities. These are very much about a look. But I think on looks as an aesthetic quality. Like, I have no problem with people with their hair doing fancy outfits. That can be totally part of someone's content and contribute. But I think when the focus is on everything to be catered to how you feel comfortable. So for a man to want to watch a female YouTuber and to want, kind of catered to in this way, like, oh, I want to watch a beautiful, sexy woman instead of like somebody who is fat or old or disabled or unattractive in some way. So it's before this, I never really thought of feminism as a way to kind of critique a new world. I always just kind of thought it was about, like, I don't know what I used to think. Now, like, it's hard to remember. But now I kind of think of it as a way to like imagine a better world. So like
Okay.
we could have a world that is better than this, where more people can, and not be held back.
Okay. Okay. So all right. So I think we lost the plot a little bit.
I think so.
Or maybe you're cool, but I lost the plot. So all right. So the radical. So your take on radical feminists is that I'm gonna try and paraphrase, and you can say no, Roger, you're wrong. Is that okay? They are rooted in biology, and you find that a little uncomfortable. Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The TERFs are very rooted in biology.
Okay.
They will say things like, "What makes you a woman is your." It's being a biological cis woman is a special club. Everyone who gets to be oppressed and gets to lord that over men, and these two we are. And it's actually a very, very alien idea to feminism, is really about breaking free, like taking, like, biology can, but it doesn't have to. Like, so the TERF thing doesn't make sense. Like, actual radical feminists are liberation, including liberation from biological essentialism, which is something reading a bit more.
Wait a minute. Okay, all right. So this is a time for me to push back a little bit. Okay, if I was a TERF, and so I'm like trans, I'm trans exclusionary, then and I see I might say that, okay, these transgender folks are trying to create or recreate some stereotypes about women that I think suck. And so I don't like it, and I don't like this whole transgender thing. So that's why I'm against it. I mean, is that good or bad? I mean, I kind of get that core logic of TERFs. Yeah.
That element does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And radical feminism is as well. Some trans people are radical feminists, some are not. So the radical feminist take, from what I've gathered, is that, oh no, now I'm kind of lost. Wait, the radical feminist take would be like a gender abolition take. We don't need these stereotypes. We should be them, and we should be free from biological essentialism as well. So it's essentially people, and people can be themselves, and that is cool. That would be with that. So there's very I think I fall more in a liberal spot. It's probably fine for people to engage in gender stereotypes if they I would not be like super harsh on that, but there are radical are and don't believe in engaging.
Okay. All right. So that took, okay. So we're at 9:45. All right. So we're at 45 minutes. So I wanted to ask you about radical gender ideology, but I'm not, for two reasons. One, I mean, we're kind of pushing towards the end, and I want to just get your final thoughts. And also, I'm unhappy with our live stream. I'm unhappy. I mean, it just seems like there's an in and out going on here, which sucks. So, it's like, all right, should I continue or not? So I don't know. I'm not. I'm just going to end it. But I want to ask you a little bit about what's in the future for you. You mentioned your app. You mentioned not your app. I'm sorry. You're writing for the app, which I think is really cool.
Mhm.
You is there anything else you'd like to add?
Um, I don't think so. I think I said basically everything I wanted to say. Um,
Oh, okay, so this has been really good in ways that I probably can't express here. I have to think about it a little bit, but I find this kind of interesting. So Rebecca Christiansen, who I call RBC, this has been really interesting, and thank you very much for donating your time for my YouTube channel.
yeah, no problem.